Today, I want to talk about Nana, and specifically Junko, and how she's like the parent friend. And what I mean by the parent friend is that Junko reacts to things as if she is taking on the parent role in like Nana K's life. But not just Nana K's life. Even when we think about that whole situation with her and Shoji, when she found out Shoji was cheating, like she didn't know the depth of it. It wasn't until she talked to Kyosuke and found out, like after talking to Shoji, that oh no, like he in love with this girl. But in the moment when she found out that oh okay, you're dealing with somebody named Sachiko, you need to end it, like cut this shit out. She wasn't necessarily reacting as like a friend, right? If you really read what she's saying, she's reacting more like a parent trying to teach Shoji about like responsibility. But I will also say she gets sucked into, again, trying to make things better for Nana K, keeping Nana K comfortable. Let's not get Nana K upset because we don't know what's going to happen in her mental health. She does get caught up in that. And so what I mean by this is, for example, right? She's finding out that, Shoji's dealing with this other girl, and she's telling him, okay, you need to cut that shit out, cut it off, this, that, and third. Like, I know Nana K is tiring, and I see that you probably find some peace in Sachiko, and he's just like, oh, yeah, like, you get it. Thank you, Junko. She's like, I didn't say all that. You know what you got yourself into, though. Like, you knew that Nana K was tiring before you got with her, and you chose to get with her, so you can't just drop her and try to be getting with somebody else. Like, you knew that. You knew what you got yourself into. And I think this is also coming from somebody, Junko, who also knew what she was getting herself into by staying and remaining friends with Nana K, knowing that she is never going to have a healthy type actual friend that can give her the same energy that she's giving Nana K. She's not going to have that in Nana K. And she knows that. Junko's smart. She knows that by staying friends with Nana K, she is going to have to parent her. She is going to have to always give her advice. She's always going to have to steer her in the right direction. She is going to have to be her moral compass. And since she's away from her family, and Nana K, again, the decisions that she makes, Junko has to serve as like the mama. And yes, on one hand, it's like, okay, well, Junko, that's not your responsibility. Y'all are all young as fuck, and y'all frontal lobes are not developed, and nobody in the real world is even perfect. But like y'all, nobody's perfect. Y'all are figuring all this shit out. This is a coming of age story. It's going to irritate us because we're seeing these young folk navigate life and navigate these situations for the very first time, and mistakes are going to be made. Coming of age stories are always going to piss you off in one way or another. But if you have ever experienced being that therapist friend, the advice friend, the parent friend, over time you have to learn that you got to put up boundaries. That, hey, you know what? I need to stay the fuck up out of this. At some point, you are going to have to figure this out on your own. I can't help you with that. Or I have to put up boundaries of when you ask for me or asking advice, or just think about that time that Nana K just ran to, Junko and Kyosuke's place in the middle of the night when the whole Takumi situation happened with the baby and Nobu. And again, they're always there for her. And we see even in the end, Junko is there during the pregnancy. Junko was over their apartment. She's always there. But Junko knows what she signed up for. By remaining friends with her, your role in her life is as like a parent. Because let's be real. Junko, when she's not lecturing Nana K or giving her advice, or Nana K is running to her for help in some type of way, shape, or form, whether it's for money because she can't pay rent because she done spent all her money up, whatever. Who is Junko to Nana K? Right? Nana K cannot pour into Junko the way that Junko would need an actual like friend, or what people like to say, like, oh, but that's her best friend. First of all, let's just make it clear. It's never specified that Nana K and Junko are best friends. It is specified. We see that Junko is Nana K's only friend. We also don't see Junko with other girlfriends, but even with her being, back in the day, she was like, I've had guy friends in middle school and I wasn't trying to date them. So with that being said, one could speculate that, oh, okay, if she had guy friends, she probably had girlfriends as well. But if we're just going to go off of what we see, we don't see Junko with any other girlfriend either. But with that being said, we also never hear her say, oh, that's my best friend. They actually don't classify each other as like best friends. I just want to clear that up. That is not like, oh, make an excuse or anything. I'm just saying, like, I'm tired of hearing that that's her best friend. Like, Nana K is not emotionally intelligent enough okay, or mature enough to genuinely be Junko's best friend, where it's a healthy relationship, where there's a give and take, where they are pouring into each other, they are giving advice to each other, they are doing things that, like, the reason why Nana Kaben went to the art school was not only to not be alone and to be able to, cling to Junko, but also to find a boyfriend. They didn't even go to school for the same reasons. Whereas Junko genuinely went to Tokyo because she wanted to go to art school. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like she can't be her best friend. You know? So when people say that, I'm like, okay, let's go back and reread. But with that being said, so Junko's role in Nanake's life is more of a moral compass, more of like a mom, somebody responsible who's going to lecture you. And Nanake appreciates that. This is why she tends to gravitate towards people like Junko and Otakami, people who are blunt. And also, I'll even add in Miyu. I feel like over time they're gonna get closer because we see toward the end of the manga, Miyu kind of, spitting some facts of like, okay, well, who you gonna choose? Is it gonna be Takumi or is it gonna be Nobu? Because you can't just keep hanging around Nobu if you're gonna be with Takumi. Like, what's it gonna be? You feel me? And she kind of like, disregards the question. She's like, oh, you remind me of Junko. Like, I miss her lectures. But it's just like, no, answer the question though. So now with the understanding of like, yeah, Junko's role in Nanake's life is really of like, again, like a mature figure who she goes to for help. It's not like somebody who she just goes and hangs out with and has fun with and doesn't talk about guys. Like, it's always going to be to get some help, to get some advice, to get a lecture, to figure out what my next move should be. She also trusts Takumi's judgment. And it's because he doesn't waver off of emotions. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's just like, even though he can come off harsh and cold or, just brutally honest, it's just because, again, he's not going off of emotions like how Nanake does. So she's always going to gravitate towards somebody who can kind of keep her grounded. And when she's being really emotional, she knows that when they speak, that they're not being super emotional, that they're going off of what's there. Now, if anything, if you ask me, I feel like Takumi is a little bit more objective than Junko. And the reason why is because although, contrary to popular belief, Junko she do be on Nanake's side though. She does want things to be, peaceful for Nanake and just wants her to be happy. She does. And sometimes that, it ends up, backfiring, I'll say. And I'm going to say backfiring because let's just go back to the whole Shoji and Nanake situation. In this moment where basically, she's saying, you knew what you were getting yourself into, Shoji, so kind of like suck it up and, in this step with this Sachiko girl. And he's like, Junko, like, whose side are you on? And later on, she's like, I'm not on either of y'all side. Like, y'all both ain't shit. I'm on the side of justice, right? But if we're going to be so for real, if Junko was truly on the side of justice and she was truly being like neutral, right, and not more on Nanake's side, then for one, she would have told. And mind you, again, they're like 20 years old. They're very young. They're inexperienced. They're ignorant to a lot of things. They don't have that life seasoning, so we have to also remember that. Okay, but with that being said, if she was truly, on the side of justice, and that means justice for everybody involved, she would have told Shoji to break things off with Nanake. She would have told Shoji to break things off with Nanake. But also, in Junko's defense, in this moment, okay, when she's first finding out about Sachiko, she doesn't know how serious Shoji feels about Sachiko. It's not until later when Kyosuke's like, no, he's actually in love with this girl and there's nothing we can do about this. Like, we cannot fix this. You cannot fix this. It's not until she hears that she's like, fuck, okay, we just got to try to keep this from Nana then, because this is not going to end well. So I think if she would have known like, oh no, I'm deeply in love with this girl. I'm already in. The feeling's already there. It's too late. I can't stop him. I feel like her answer probably would have been a little different, but we going off of what's there. She tells him, no, you need to suck it up. Like, again, in kind of like taking this moment as like a teaching moment of like, you don't just, take on this responsibility and then just kind of abandon it when you see something else come up. So as we can see, she's taking on a parent role, even in this situation with Shoji, where it's like, a friend, especially if a friend that's more on Shoji's side, would have been like, you know what, you need to break things off with her then. If anything, like whether I know that you're in love with her or not, break things off with your girlfriend since you're already cheating on her. Like, even if you didn't do nothing physical, it seems like your feelings are there, so end things with her, right? But then if she would have did that, people would have been pissed. They would be like, oh my god, like, why she tell him to break up with Nana K? And if Nana K found out that later that, oh, Junko told him to end things with me, oh, she would have been devastated. But another scenario could have been, okay, she tells Shoji, okay, well then if you're dealing with this girl, you need to end things with Nana K. And then she goes to Nana K and being like, look, I'm gonna just say this. Right? You need to go through that motherfucking phone. Go through that motherfucking phone. But then with that, okay, as we know, Junko was afraid of Nana K taking her own life. And that's not me exaggerating. Like, as you can see here, like, she was like, if Shoji just abandons Nana K out of nowhere, like breaks up with her out of nowhere, she could very well cut her veins. That's scary. Right? Or I think Kyosuke saying, like, that's scary. Like, oh, shoot. Like, I didn't know she was going to probably react like that. And understand, this is not exaggeration. Nana K said it herself. Remember, Nana K said that night, if Nana O wasn't there with her, she would have threw herself into the water and would now be in the Tama River. Okay? And she said, I sincerely think that. So, again, this is not an exaggeration. Junko knows Nana K. She knows that, when it comes to her stuff, she's not mentally well. She's not mentally stable. And she does need to go see that lady. There's everybody up in this show need to go see that lady. Junko and Kyosuke seem fine, not gonna lie. And I'm not saying that they don't got no other issues, but we were not shown trauma on their behalf for something that they would need to go see. That they're more side characters. But the point in the matter is that, yeah, that's not a bad thing to go seek help, okay? But the point of the matter is just acknowledging, no, yeah, you do need some help. I don't know. Sadly, we don't get to see Nana K's backstory, but we know, yeah, you got some stuff going on. And you need to get some help. And so Junko knows that. So she knows that it would not be a good situation for him to just out of nowhere be like, hey, look, I'm breaking up with you. And although this is why it's a sticky situation, because it's just like, especially for falling on Junko, for it to be like, fuck, like, I'm this parent friend, I'm supposed to be able to fix things. And this is why this scene with Junko and Kyosuke, where Kyosuke's telling Junko there's nothing we could do anymore, like, he's in love with this girl, it's so important, because Junko is used to being in that parent role. She's used to giving the advice. She's used to also, I think she's also used to being right? Like, when it comes to these situations where she's steering Nana K in the quote unquote right direction, she's used to that. She's used to being like, okay, I know what to say. I could just steer in the right direction. But now this is a situation that not only involves, this other person that she actually knows, because usually in the past, Nana K would just be obsessing with men that she didn't know. You get what I mean? Like, yeah, she got groomed by that Takashi. But, Junko didn't know about that. Like, well, she knew about it, but she didn't know this person to where she can actually talk to them and actually get to know them and know the situation and actually even care about that other person too. She all she knew was she was like, look, this is a grown ass man. You should at least got some money out of him. You dumb as hell. And then she didn't even really realize the emotional toll that ended up taking on Nana K until after the fact, when Nana K would, have random breakdowns, whether when she's drunk or she would bring him up in a conversation, and she's just like, damn, you really still think about this dude? Like, that's crazy. Because on the outside to Junko, she's just like, I mean, to me, I knew that what that was. He was just using you because you're young, impressionable, and he you like young girls. And, he ain't shit because he's married on top of that, right? But for her to see Nana K really ripped up about that, like, she's just like, damn, she really wasn't, like, she really loved that man. Okay, so even just, we see over time, even like Junko seeing these different things, even with Nana K, because she's like, dang, like, she holds it in, but she's really fucked up over that man. Like, really fucked up. So even for Junko, this is a situation that's new, because now this person that, Nana K is with is somebody that she actually knows personally. And, for her, she's like, okay, well, I want them to both become better people. So I want to hold them accountable, But I also, this is why I say she, even though people be thinking like, oh, she's the worst friend ever, like she never had her Nana K's back. It's like, no, we see that she has Nana K's back, because even in that moment, instead of her telling Shoji to do what's probably best for him in this moment, which was to break up with Nana K, she's telling him no and take responsibility. You knew what you were getting yourself into with Nana K. You know how she is, right? And you know this is going to fucking shatter her. No, you stay with her in stuff with the other girl, right? And that is Junko. Even if you don't like the way she's going about it, like, yeah, we could talk about all these different ways how she could have gone about it, but that is Junko being on Nana K's side. Where if she was truly on the side of justice, right, justice for both parties involved, true justice, then she probably would have told Shoji to break things off with Nana K, right? And we could debate on how she should have alerted Nana K, because again, if you are really afraid of somebody's safety and of them hurting themselves, there is a certain way you have to go about these things. You can't just abruptly just do it. Some people in the comments be like, oh, if that was my friend, I'll just tell them immediately. It's like, okay, well, let's not insert ourselves too much, because I could tell from this comment, some of y'all ain't never dealt with a suicidal friend or a friend that could be suicidal, or a friend that's just mentally unstable and you don't know what the hell they finna do when they get this information. I could tell because there's no caution. You're not taking any caution with the situation. You do have to take caution. So, and then also, again, with her being the parent friend, we do have to understand that with her trying to get Shoji to take responsibility, I think she also tried to give him room to fix the situation and to own up to it, to fix it, and to navigate it himself, rather than her doing everything herself. Because at the end of the day, this isn't her situation. So she's like, look, fix it. And then, with her leaving and him just being like, fuck, like, what do I do? It's just like, again, I can't solve all your problems for you. I don't like what I'm hearing, and I want it fixed, and you need to take responsibility, because at the end of the day, this is your girlfriend. This is just a new girl that you just met. She didn't understand that he was in love with her at this point. But she's trying to give him room to navigate the situation, just like how she be trying to give Nana K room. But Nana K, she got a thick skull. She do. She got a thick skull. She don't be listening, to where you have to drill it into her head. You do. And you see what she do after, and she usually ends up, at least from what we see, she ends up doing something that ends up getting her in a more sticky situation. So this is not Junko being that parent friend. And not saying this to make you like Junko. I don't ever try to make people like characters, because you gonna like what you like and you gonna dislike what you dislike. And every character can be liked and every character in here can be disliked. But I like to analyze these things and get people to look at it from a different perspective, so that they can understand, and it enriches the character, right? Because it makes people understand of like, oh, so maybe that's why she wasn't reacting the way maybe a typical friend would, who sees her as more of like an equal, where they have a more healthy relationship, where it's more of a give and take. And honestly, let's be real. If Nana K was on like a same level as Junko, this situation probably wouldn't even be happening, most likely. But instead, she's looking after Nana K in more of a parent or mother role, and Nana K accepts that. And she actually appreciates that dynamic. And so with that being said, this is why Junko responds more like a parent, right? And more like somebody who's trying to hold you accountable rather than just comfort you. And some people would rather just take the comfort. Some people can argue, well, can I do the comfort, and then when the situation's de-escalated, then we can do the accountability. And that's fine too. You don't got to like how somebody's going about it, but at least this can make her character make a little bit more sense to you. And this is in no way saying that how she went about things was always the best way. No, because she's young as fuck too. This is why I like the fact that toward the middle or end of the manga, she's just like, you know what? I think I just need to shut my ass up. I think I just need to stay out of it. I think I just need to be quiet sometimes, because yeah. And just realizing that, yeah, that probably wasn't the best advice, But again, she can only give her version of what the best advice is that she thinks it is to this person at this time, at this age. You get what I mean? So again, I see where she's coming from. Would I have done things exactly like Junko? Me at 26? No. But my frontal lobe is developed. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just different. So yeah, I feel like what would help people really understand these characters more and be able to look at them through different perspectives is to not only view them from the two Nanas perspectives, because although it's called Nana and the main characters are the two Nanas, if we only look at the other characters from their perspectives, then it's easy to demonize and or dismiss and disregard certain characters and all the layers that they have. Somebody had put in a comment on TikTok saying that, I don't feel like there's a lot of nuance to Junko just because, like, we only see her to give me lectures and this and third. And I'm like, no, there's a lot of nuance, and there's nuance with every single character. And that's why I love analyzing this manga. But it does take the ability to understand your positionality, understand that you have your own personal biases, to kind of try to put those to the side. Now, that's going to be hard. Sometimes people can't do that. Like I said, sociologists, they have to do that. We have to understand that we all have personal biases, but we got to put that to the side so that we can view things objectively and be able to put, a different pair of glasses on and see something differently. For example, some people who got cheated on, they just gonna always see Shoji as the devil and Junko as the devil for not telling her immediately. They're not thinking about these characters specifically. They're not thinking about the context of these characters and not themselves. And so on and so forth, right? Compared to being able to be like, damn, well, yeah, if I was in Junko's shoes, what would I do? Considering everything and everybody and all the different layers and the fact that Nanake could have hurt herself, and that, okay, again, you being that parent friend and trying to, teach people things and like hold them accountable for stuff and, trying to keep Nanake happy, because ultimately, like I said, people think that Junko wasn't in this situation, wasn't on Nanake's side, when really Junko is always on Nanake's side. It may not seem like it because of her tone, or again, she can get irritated with how everything pans out with Nanake because of her decisions, but she's always on Nanake's side, even if it's not the way that you would have went about it, even if it's not the way I would have went about it. But she is always on Nanake's side. It's more of like, when you really think about it and you reread, it's like she's trying to keep Nanake, in a good space, even if it doesn't look like it. Like when we go to the scene where Nanake just found out about Shoji and Sachiko, and Junko comes and she's just like, oh my God, you're okay. And she's genuinely like got tears in her eyes, like genuine tears in her eyes. And she hugs her and she's just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad you're okay. Right. Because she had, she came to the apartment. She was like, I kept ringing and ringing, and, you weren't opening the door. And like, she genuinely thought she took her own life. But let's get to the scene where, and let's just break this down real quick, right? Might as well. We got the time to break down that Junko never blamed Nanake for getting cheated on, but instead she did hold Nanake accountable for her part that she played in the deterioration of her and Shoji's relationship. That's one thing I really don't like. Like, this is my thing. I don't care if you like a character or not, but I just don't like misinformation being spread. That's the only thing for me. She did not blame her for getting cheated on. Oh, yeah, that's your fucking fault, girl. She ain't never do that. Ain't never did that. And you don't gotta like her, even after knowing that she didn't do that. But it's just, let's not spread misinformation. So let's start from the top. When Junko first gets to the apartment, again, she's like, woo, you're still alive. She got tears in her eyes. She hugs Nanake. She's like, I was ringing and ringing. You weren't answering. I thought there was blood everywhere. Like, this is crazy. I'm just glad that you're okay, right? So Nanake trying to put two and two together. She's like, how does Jun know about all this? And so she thinks that Nana O called Junko and told her everything. And she's like, oh, that Nana O, like, of course she did. And she's like, Nana O's out working today, so she left me here, so of course she's worried. And Junko's like, no, girl, Nana O don't give a fuck to be doing all that. Actually, it was Shoji that gave me a call because he's worried about you. And of course, that's, when Nanake like, he's worried. Like, if he can't come by himself, I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't need him worried about me. And this is when Junko, she's seeing, how hurt Nanake is. And ultimately, again, you can see by Junko's actions, she was trying to avoid this, And that's why I say Junko wasn't really just on the side of justice. She was on the side of keeping Nanake happy, right? Because she was trying to avoid this, even if going about it wasn't the right way. Because let's be real, no one should stay in a relationship that they're not happy in. Shoji should not have cheated, but he also should not have stayed with Nanake either. Period, point blank. And so for Junko to be telling him, just end things with this other girl, and even after Kyosuke said that, no, there's nothing we could do, like, he's in love with this girl, that's when Junko was like, fuck, okay, this is not going to be good for Nanake. Like, she might hurt herself. We need to try to make sure, like, she does not find out. And then maybe once he ends things with this girl, his feelings will go back to how they were for Nana. And then he won't have feelings for that other girl no more. And I'm just like, girl, that don't even make sense. Junko, that don't even make fucking sense. But that shows, like, how far she was trying to go to keep Nanake happy. And that's why I'm just like, yeah, Junko really does care about Nanake, actually. But she's going about it in a way of, like, having other people having to compromise and sacrifice to keep her happy. And because of Nanake's facade, and also just because of her aesthetic, and because of her personality, I'll say too, the people around her feel like she needs to be saved, she needs to be helped. Junko's the one who holds her the most accountable, I will say, but she has that aura to where even Junko kind of falls into that, like it reminds me of like a parent with a baby crying, and you're just trying to pacify the baby. Like, you're like, please just get back with her, because, like, for one, like, she, again, just thinking you just cheat and just cheat, when that's not the case. Like, he actually did fall in love with this girl, and this is why it was such a hard decision, because it was like, no, I actually genuinely have feelings for her, compared to when him and Nanake got together. It was very, I'm not gonna lie, them getting together for me was very fucking ugly. Like, we're dealing with someone who extremely wounded, just got groomed by this older man. She's still dealing with her feelings for that, with that. And, she was really boy crazy. She's trying to fill a void. And I wish we got that backstory for Nanake, so we can really see, like, what void are you trying to fill? Like, what happened in your childhood? Because we need to know. Like, this is getting out of hand. And Shoji, who, yes, he likes her, but as well as wants to, sleep with her. And she being like, okay, well, at least tell me, butter me up before you go to sleep. I mean, butter me up before you trying to sleep with me. Like, you're not going to tell me you love me first? And he was just like, well, why would I do that? I don't love you. And she was just like, it's okay, I heard your heart say it. What? That's ugly as shit. I don't care what nobody says. I actually think him and Sachiko actually had a better love story than him and Nanake. But they was dead wrong for cheating. And Sachiko got on my fucking nerve, because it's like, girl, you're not gonna give him an ultimatum or nothing. I get at first you didn't know he had a girlfriend, but as soon as you found out, no ultimatum, no nothing, no separation, no nothing. Because that's honestly my beef with Sachiko. Like, you could have been like, okay, cool, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Oh, okay. Sadly, my feelings are already involved. But you know what? I'm not no messy bitch. So I'm going to go ahead and back the fuck up and back the fuck off. I'm not going to talk to your ass until you figure out the fuck is going on. No, dead ass. And show me the fucking messages. And then give it some fucking time. Because I don't got time beginning with you and then you be trying to get back with her. Like it needed to be something. Like, Sachiko needed a motherfucking backbone. But again, this is a coming of age story to where we're going to see people like that. To where it's just like they're so desperate for love, to where they don't have those type of boundaries. They don't have that self-respect. They don't. Like, and again, seeing young folk, navigate this shit for the first time. It takes, for you to have that life experience, sometimes it takes these messy ass situations. And of course, not everybody got to have a messy ass situation like this to have some experience and life experience. Okay. And some wisdom. But I'm just saying, there's going to be situations like this where you're like, well, back in my day, I did some fucked up shit. Or back in my day, I was a dumbass. And this is why I'm able to tell you not to be a dumbass in this way, because I was a dumbass. You get me? So, yeah. Anyway, so back to the conversation. So, Nanake's breaking down. And, Junko's like, you know what? That's true. I'm sorry. Like, I'm stupid for telling you that. Because, like, yeah, girl, she don't give a damn if he's talking about, he's worried about her. You're the reason I'm feeling this way. So, fuck you, to be honest. But this is where, Junko tries to, play both sides and come from the parent point of view, where she's trying to give Nanake a different perspective, right? And this is where that accountability kind of comes in. But this is where the misinformation starts to spread. And that's what I don't like. Because now she's like, but Nana, I think that for Shoji too, it's hard, don't you think? And that's when Nanake spirals out. She's like, June, you're defending Shoji? And she was like, well, not particularly, but like, she was like, Shoji betrayed me, She starts to go on saying, I was being cheated on the whole time, all like from the beginning, he was cheating on me. And Junko's like, no, not from the beginning. Stop saying that you were being cheated on from the beginning. Again, because that's just not true. Shoji wasn't cheating on her ever since the beginning. And so Nana K in this moment is using that to spiral even more out of control. Okay? And you have to, no matter how harsh it sounds, because that's when she's like, see, you're defending him. And so that may sound bad to her. Like, why is Junko defending him when he cheated on me? But it's just like, well, I'm defending him in this moment because what you're saying is just not true. It's just not true. And you're going to spiral more out of control, and this is going to lead to you self-sabotaging even more, because now you feel like, oh, he never cared about me, oh, he cheated on me from the beginning, oh, I'm not lovable, I'm not this, I'm not, like, she's literally seeing you unravel off of something that's not true. He did cheat on you, and that was absolutely wrong. He should not have done that. But that it wasn't like that from the beginning. So yes, in this moment, I'm not going to let my friend, okay, or anybody, go off of a lie and spiral even further, especially if this is somebody that she already knows that can hurt herself. Okay, and Nana K has already said, like, if Nana O wasn't there, I would have hurt myself. I would have taken my own life by jumping off the bridge. So no, I cannot let you. Like, I genuinely cannot let you. And that's not even including the layer that, yes, Shoji's my friend too. Y'all are both my friend, and y'all both immature as fuck. And y'all both not emotionally intelligent enough to even have a serious relationship right now, and healthy relationship right now. So yeah, I'm not going to let you just, spiral off of, something that is that just not true. I'm sorry. Whether you like it or not, whether people are like, well, she shouldn't have said that right then and there. For her in this situation, I agree with the fact that she had to stop her. And this is where people start to spread the misinformation, right? So when, Nana K is like, see, you're defending him. And this is when, Junko, she's like, ugh, like, this fucking sucks. Like, this is not a good situation. But she was like, yes, maybe. Like, maybe I have to defend him right now. And her defending him in that moment is not her blaming Nana K for getting cheated on. But let's continue. So this is when Junko says, because to me, Shoji is a friend who means just as much as you do. And I think people need to understand that. Junko just said her Nana K and Shoji are on the same level to her. He means just as much to me as you do. So this is why I say, let's not go with they were best friends. That's Junko best friend. How could you? No, because then you guys are putting this dynamic that does not exist. This dynamic that Shoji to Junko is so much below Nana K. When Junko, is saying that she looks at Nana K and Shoji on the same level. So she cannot, look, she literally just said, I can't always be on your side, right? She said, I'm wondering about this habit you have of constantly being the victim. She said, this time it's true. Shoji was the wrong one by dating another girl without telling you. But before that, I think you were wrong too, Nana. So even just reading that, y'all see how the fandom be full of shit? And this is not everybody, because, there's people with media literacy, but the fandom be full of shit when it comes to this Junko hate. I'm sorry, the hate, or even just the whole, it should have been Junko instead of Rin that passed. What? Junko was the worst friend ever. Huh? Junko blamed Nana K for getting cheated on. What? Insane. You don't gotta like anybody. You don't gotta like Junko. But what we not gonna do is act like she's the devil spawn. We're not going to do that. And we're not going to act like she blamed Nana K for getting cheated on. We have to stop saying that. And also, let's stop saying that, oh, Nana K was her best friend. How could she choose a man over her? Please. She's saying Shoji and Nana K are on the same level of friendship for her. That's what she's saying too. So we have to understand, like, she is in between a rock and a hard place. Okay? And this is why she lectures the both of them. And that's why even Shoji was like, wait, Junko, whose side are you on? And she's like, I'm not on either one of your side. But it's funny because her actions of trying to like pacify Nana K by, okay, let's just, Shoji, just fix it. End things with this girl and get back with Nana K. So, she won't spaz out. Because she's going to be really hurt over this. That's not necessarily just be on the side of justice, because where's the justice for Shoji in that moment? And people going to be mad and be like, what do you mean justice for Shoji? Where is the justice for Shoji in that moment? If Junko didn't care about Nana K at all, or if Junko wasn't, let's say Junko wasn't even friends with Nana K, Junko probably would have told him, you should break up with this girl then. Break up with this girl. If that's really how you feel, break up with this girl and be with the one that you're saying you have these feelings for. That would have been justice for Shoji. But because Junko is, these two friends, they're literally on the same level. She's trying to think about Nana K's, feelings as well. And because Nana K is unstable, she's emotionally less emotionally stable than Shoji. She's like, I'm not, like, she's really not in fear for Shoji's life if he had to stay with Nana K. You get what I mean? Compared to, she's in fear of Nana K's life and what she's going to do and how she's going to respond and act and internalize him breaking up with her. And so now she's kind of like, okay, we got to just try to find a way to pacify her, because this is just not going to be good. And hopefully he'll end things off with this other girl and his feelings just will go away for her and they'll return to Nana K. That's wishful thinking at that point. But it shows, even then, like, Junko's trying to think about Nana K even more. And you cannot lie, Nana K has a victim mentality. She does. And this is not talking about in this moment. And this is why Junko says, not this time. She's like, this time it's true. Okay, you are a victim of somebody cheating on you. And so this is why I'm saying, like, why do y'all say that she's blaming her for being cheated on? Like, are we not reading? Did you not watch the show? And even if you watch the show, are we not reading? Like, where's the media literacy? But she says, before this, though, which is true. Let's be so for real. Before this, though, you were wrong, too. And the thing people are missing is the inner monologue for Nana K, because she's saying, I know very well all of this. So, again, Nana K is very self-aware, y'all. So even though on the outside she's crying and she's just like, oh, you're defending him, this, that, and the third. When Junko says, before he cheated on you, you were in the wrong too. And you have a blaming, victim mentality, you have a victim mentality and you have a habit of doing that. She's saying that she knows this. Nana K is saying, I know very well all of this. I know it. Hello? And even though she knows this, and she's saying in her head she knows all of this, right? She's like, I found a job, to become more independent. Like, I was trying my best. And Junko's like, yes, but that's your problem, right? Like, you've always been like this, only thinking of yourself. And you don't think about Shoji enough. Or you didn't think about Shoji enough. She says, love too is a story between two human beings. So if you can't think of the other, it's possible that it won't work. So where in there did she blame Nana K for getting cheated on? Right? This is what I'm saying. I just don't like misinformation. And it's funny because, again, in this situation, nobody wants to, admit that, hey, yeah, Nana K knew this. Nana K knows this. And that's why after this, she's just quiet. And then, Nana O walks in and she's just sitting there. Because it's just like, not only, yes, you're sad about the situation, but it's just like, you knew this, though. Like, you know it. And now you have to deal with the fact of, like, yeah, the way I move, there's consequences to these things. And I'm not saying that the cheating is the consequence. I'm talking about the deterioration of relationships, okay, can happen when you only think about yourself. Yeah, she should not have gotten cheated on. But maybe, just maybe, if you weren't only thinking about yourself at times, okay, a lot of times, then maybe the relationship wouldn't have deteriorated in that way. Okay, maybe if she didn't cancel these dates with Shoji so many times to go hang out with Nana O, maybe if she wasn't always talking about Nana O and Blast every time, her and Shoji was dealing with each other, maybe if she would have started inviting Shoji over more instead of just focusing on Nana O and centering her. That's a whole nother conversation, honey. We know why she was doing all that, because it wasn't no just platonic, just little friendship. Like, she was getting all these needs met. Okay. Talking about, feel like I'm falling in love with Nana. Oh, okay. Even when people bring up, like, Shoji got mad, like, he said he wanted her to be more independent, and then when she did, he got mad. No, it wasn't the fact that she, quote unquote, was becoming more independent. It was the fact that literally she centered somebody else. And again, if Nana O was a man and their relationship stayed exactly the same, y'all would say she got in a whole ass relationship with somebody else. Yeah, to the point where she barely was making time for this man. Yeah. And if Nana K was a guy, a lot of y'all would be able to clock what she be doing way quicker because she, just simply on the fact it's a man. But because she's a woman, and like I said, her aesthetic, and also because she's the main character and we're viewing it from her point of view, a lot, and also because a lot of the fandom seems to relate to Nana K the most, they cannot clock her. But I'm telling you, take all the things Nana K does, says, engages in, and act like she's a man. I promise you will be able to clock that shit way quicker. Okay? But yeah, in this moment, people don't like the fact that, Junko's holding her accountable for, having that victim mentality, only thinking about herself. Mind you, multiple times in the manga and even in the anime, she admits to being selfish. She admits to being, emotionally, an emotional and manipulator. She admits to, wearing a facade and, not showing her true self, pretending to be a certain way that she's not. She admits to these things. And even in this moment, mentally admitting, yeah, I know all this. I do. This is not new to her. This is not new because she knows it. She's very self-aware. So, and this is why afterwards it's like she knows she said the truth. Like, yeah. Because again, there was another time, remember after Shoji and Nana K's last date. And if y'all remember their last date, Nana had snapped at him. So mind you, this is after Shoji already talked to Kyosuke, and Kyosuke was like, yeah, I wouldn't cheat on my girl because I'm afraid of losing her, and I actually love her. So, we ain't the same. So this is where, Shoji's trying to, make things work with Nana K, and he's just like, okay, so they're on a date, and Nana K just keeps complaining about, her job and her boss and how much she hates her and she's a bitch and blah, 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 blah. And mind you, they haven't really been seeing each other as often because, again, Nana K has been, at work. But before then, even before she had that job, she was hanging out with Nana O, hanging out with Blast, canceling stuff on him to hang out with Blast. She hasn't been inviting him over either. He's been doing his thing, developing these feelings for Sachiko. So it's like, it's not looking good. And so, when y'all finally have a date, now it's like, you just kind of like, just venting a little bit too much and making everything about you a little too much. It's okay to update each other, but she was just doing a little too much, going in a little too much. And mind you, this isn't really Nana K's personality. This is not who he remembers. Nana K is letting that mask slip a little bit. And I think this is interesting because he's not used to seeing her like this, where she's not really bubbly and, happy go lucky and like a little Hachiko. Now she's like, oh, this girl is so annoying. Like, she is such a bitch and yada, la, 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 la. And he's just like, what the hell is going on? And, he's not really reacting the way that she wants him to. And she's like, what's wrong with you, Shoji? You don't really react today, do you? And he was like, no, Nana. And he was like, don't say she's a bitch. He was like, are you influenced by your, flatmate's vulgarity or what? Like, because again, he's not used to hearing her curse. He's not used to hearing her act like this. And this is for me, like, symbolized for me, like, oh yeah, that mask is slipping, honey. Like and this is why, and again, this is why it sucks, because it seems like everybody's proving her point when they do get to see the real her, but that's because initially you did not show them the true you. You see what I'm saying? So when you introduce yourself to people and you have on a facade and you're playing a role, you're playing a character, or you're just not showing the true you, then when you do show the true you and they're not fucking with that, and then you're like, see, I can't show the true me because nobody will mess with it. That is on you though, for not showing them the true you first. Now, of course, that's not the only layer, okay, here, but of course that's one of them, of like, he's just like, what's going on? Like, why are you being so vulgar lately? Like, what's happening? And she's like, but she's exhausting me, and kind of like whining and just being like, like everybody's asking me for so many things. And mind you, Nana K's not used to being at a job like this. Like, this is like, it seemed like more of like an office job. She has a lot of responsibilities and people are expecting things of her. And not saying that you can't have a shitty boss, but just saying Nana K, she ain't used to all that. She's like, 2 days off? You're kidding me. I've had enough. I want to stop. Mind you, that's just a full-time job. Like, you feel me? You feel what I'm trying to say? Like, yeah, you get Friday, Saturday off. Like, yeah, and then you back at it. Yeah, shit, it kind of sucks, but this is what you got to do to pay the fucking bills. And mind you, she's saying all of this, right, to a person that was trying to tell her in the beginning, you should not be going to Tokyo because you would have to get a job and you have to do this, you have to do that. And she was just acting like it was easy peasy lemon squeezy, like, oh yeah, that's fine, I can do that. But now that she has that, and it's not saying that you can't complain about your job, but it's just like, what? He's just kind of like, okay, I don't know what she wants me to say, because now he's like, well then stop. And she's like, well, that's easy for you to say. He's like, I mean, but you said you just wanted to quit. And she's like, okay, but yeah, but there's no way, like, I just started working there for a week, and if I stop, it isn't certain that I'll find another job right away, and if I don't work, I can't live. And he was just like, well, too bad then. Like, well, you just have to stay at work then, right? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Can we talk about something else? The fuck? Like, this is how the real world works. Mind you, he works at a restaurant or a diner. Like, you feel what I'm trying to say? Like, he knows the hustle and bustle that goes into working a full-time job, and he's in school. Like, it's like there's only so much complaining I can take. Like, it really is like, okay, it could be, oh, this job is trash, but it pays the bills, so fuck it, let's talk about something else, because we don't really see each other that often, so let's just talk about something else. And so she's like, well, you can say that. And she's like, whatever you say, you're a student and your parents send you money. If you hadn't bought things like your computer, you wouldn't have had problems living, right? We don't have the same problems. And I'm not gonna lie, when she said that, I was like, girl, who the fuck you feeling like? And he didn't even respond. Like, he just was just like and he just just closed his eyes, and he's just, again, and I know in his head he was like, I'm a text Sachiko tonight. And it's actually really sad, and it's not okay. Like, he should not have been cheating, but it's just like, this is proving his point of, like, he just got off that conversation with Kyosuke being like, I don't cheat on Junko because I'm afraid of losing her. And this is proving his point of, like, I don't think I would be afraid of losing Nana. Like, if she acting like this and she talking to me like this, crazy. Because mind you, again, who are you feeling like, Nana K? Who are you feeling like? Talking about if you hadn't bought things like your computer, you wouldn't have problems living. Girl, I'm in school. The fuck? I need a computer. Like, and I bought that shit with my hard-earned money. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And you have no right to be trying to make me feel bad about buying things for myself that I need, mind you. This is coming from the same person that when they moved out there, they kept buying shit from their job to where they went fucking broke and could not pay for rent. And so they had to go to their friends and ask for fucking money. Who the fuck are you feeling like right now? And so it was like, that was rude. That was rude as fuck. Like, this is what I'm saying. We don't really get to see each other like that. And this is how you treat me when we do. Like, what the fuck? And then next panel, she's talking about, I suck. Like, why am I like this? She's like, well, maybe this time I shouldn't have been friends with him first, thinking that's going to change anything. Like, no, girl, you should have been friends longer. Actually, y'all shouldn't have even been together, actually. And so she's like, if he doesn't tell me to come home, we won't be able to make up. And so this is when she asks, want to come in? Nana's probably at work. And he's like, no, it's okay. Tomorrow, you're working early too, right? And it's funny because why is this the only time that you really, offer for him to come in? I don't see any other time of her letting him come over or asking him to come in, whether Nana O is there or not, because this your shit too. Why is it when you make him upset, you spazzed out on him, that you said some out of pocket shit, why is it now that you're trying to invite him in? And it's all late. You probably gonna think, maybe I should sleep with him, this, that, and third, whatever. Why now? It's too late now. You see what I'm saying? And this is the type of stuff that Junko was talking about. Not just this, but this is a perfect example. Their last date that they had together before everything hit the fan. Perfect example of how, like, again, you're only thinking about yourself. You're only thinking about your feelings. And it would have been nice if you thought about Shoji a little bit more. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, I'm glad we got that out the way. Okay, so hopefully after this you understand Junko never blamed Nana K for getting cheated on. Nor does she look at Nana K as her best friend. She looks at Nana K and Shoji on like the same level of friendship to her. But we could also recognize that although Junko may have had her heart in the right place, she ain't perfect either. She done messed up too, right? Like, she could have did things and better, but again, they're all young and this is a coming of age story and they're all navigating these situations for the first time. This is why I'm glad that at some point Junko was like, I need to just stay back from this stuff. Like, I need to put up these boundaries for one, but then also understand that I can't fix everything. I can't fix everything, and it's also not your job to fix everything. Whether this is your friend, your family member, whatever the case is, other people's feelings isn't your responsibility. You cannot fix everything, and you have your own life to live, right? And you can only be there for people, only so much. So this is something that she had to learn too. Because even in this situation where, Nanake tells Junko and Kyosuke that she's pregnant, she goes to their place in the middle of the night, and, just Junko, like, what the fuck is going on? Because you didn't even tell me that you was dating someone new, even though Junko kind of put two and two together. But she was like, you didn't even tell me you was dating someone new. So now you come to me in the middle of the night, you got a boyfriend, you got a side man, and you got a baby in your belly? The fuck is happening? Like, this is a lot. This is a lot. She's crying, now again, Junko stepping in that parent mode again. And it's funny because Junko and Kyosuke are put in this role, but Kyosuke, because he doesn't really know her, or he hasn't known her as long as Junko has, and because this is a man looking at a woman, right? He falls for that facade of like, oh, woe is me, and the victim mentality of like not holding her accountable for the things that she's done as well, right? Which is ultimately going to help her grow, okay? But Kyosuke falls into that to where it's like, oh, Nanake can just cry a little bit and he throwing money like, oh, here you go, you can pay your rent with this, knowing she probably damn well gonna spend it. Or, oh, maybe it's the demon lord that she got pregnant. Like, no, she should have told Takumi to wrap it up. It's because she acts before she thinks. That's why. I completely agree with Junko calling this out. Even in this moment, it is what it is. Like, Kyosuke's always like, are you sure this is the right time? And, Junko's like, there is never a right time with Nanake. You just have to tell her in the moment. You do. Like, Kyosuke's like, this isn't the time to lecture her. And Junko's like, look, she only listens to me during these times. Like, I know my friend. Trust and believe. I know. So yeah, like in times like that, I'm like, go, yeah, I'm all for it. She needs to hear it. Is what it is. Because who else is gonna tell her? Honestly, be completely honest. Who else is going to tell her like it is? Who else is going to have an intervention with her? Who? But what I wasn't really here for was then her, proceeding to be like, you know what, don't tell Nobu nothing. Like, just move on. It's no reason to like try to, clarify things for him because he's not gonna believe you. Because I will say the story don't sound right. It don't sound right because but it's just like, and it was because Nanake was being messy with that phone call. Not really ending things with Takumi, not taking no time to let her feelings settle, and then jumping into something with Nobu. It was messy, and that was on Nanake. But I didn't agree. Me personally, I didn't agree with Junko being like, I wouldn't say anything to him. I'll just move on. Don't add insult to injury. But I'm just kind of like, no. Me personally, I'm like, hey, communication is key, and his feelings, don't deserve to just be shat on either, because Nana K wrote a whole little love letter, a little goodbye love letter to Nana O, but she ain't write shit for Nobu. Ain't this supposed to be your boyfriend? Dropped him fast, no closure at all. But again, there go Junko being in that parent role and trying to pacify Nanake because she knows Nanake's broken up over this shit. She knows that was going to be hard for her. So she's just like, oh, again, I'm not trying to hear that. Just move on. You got somebody who's saying that they're going to take care of the baby, do this, do that. Just move on. Instead of going through all that turmoil of trying to explain and all that anxiety that you have over trying to explain to Nobu what's going on. She's like, just move on with this guy that you with. And so this is actually a perfect example because earlier I was like, well, maybe it would have been different if Junko didn't know the guy that Nanake was dealing with. And this is a perfect example because Junko doesn't really know Nobu like that. She doesn't know Nobu like that. She doesn't know Takumi like that. And so in this moment, she is trying to do something that will pacify Nanake, but at the same time, she's holding her accountable for like, hey, you was on some bullshit. Like, you need to start thinking before you fucking act. Like, you shouldn't even be in the situation in the first place. But because remember when she was saying that, she's on the side of justice, when Shoji was asking, hey, are you on my side or her side? And she was like, I'm on none of y'all side. I'm on the side of justice. And in that situation, that makes more sense because these are two people that she knows that they're on the same friendship level to her. But with Nanake, Nobu, and Takumi, now she's like, okay, well, now I'm thinking about what would I consider like the best advice to give her that is going to pacify or even just help her be happy and help, and maybe just not even always be happy, just be taken care of, to be honest. Because she makes it be like, she's like, I hope you understand, you may not be happy. He may cheat on you, and this is before she knew that he was going to offer to marry her. So she was like, he's not saying that he's going to marry you and this, that, and the third, you about to have his baby. And so as we could see, it's not like she's, on like the side of justice or the best thing. She's doing what she thinks is going to be best for Nanake. Even if that means, disregarding somebody else's feelings, like Nobu. Because if you really on justice side, justice for everybody in the situation, then you would have been like, no, you owe that man an apology. You owe him an explanation, something, honey. But she can also see, like, Nana K wasn't gonna do that. Nana K wasn't gonna do that. She didn't want to do it, and it was really weighing on her to do that. So she was like, just move on with this next dude. And it's funny because during this moment they try to make it seem like Junko's piecing it together that, oh, you're being nice to Nobu, like you're not trying to put this baby on Nobu because you want him to live out his dream and this, that, and the third. And Kyosuke's like, wow, Nana, you love Nobu that much, yet you were so selfish in the past. This is, I have to admit, this is pretty admirable. But it's funny because later on we see from Nana K's inner monologue that she didn't pick Takumi necessarily because of the baby. She picked Takumi because he was the nicest to her at the time, and that Nana O wasn't there. And also, we see later on when she's on the phone with Junko, she's like, I should love Nobu, shouldn't I? It should be him. But it's Takumi. I love Takumi, and that's why I chose him. She's like, I didn't choose him because of the baby. I chose Takumi because I love Takumi. And she was like, why do I always pick the bad guys? Like, why don't I pick the Nobus? Like, why don't I love the Nobus? And that's what I'm saying. Like, Nobu's presence that night just was not enough because it was never about Nobu. And this is why she feels okay. Not only because of the confrontation. Let's be real. If she really loved Nobu, I feel like she would be able to give him that, that explanation. But she don't love that man. She loved the attention that he was giving to her because Takumi wasn't giving her that attention. Again, she likes the person who's nice to her at the time, right? Again, those emotions wavering. This is why she was trying to tell him, don't put me on a pedestal, bro. Don't do it, okay? But it's funny because, like, it's just like, even now, it's like that facade is up of, like, just being like, Kyosuke being like, damn, you love Nobu that much? And it's just like, no, not really. Not really. I care about him, yes. I'm not in love with this man, though. That's not what it is. But this is a good excuse. And also because she knows damn well Nobu wrapped it up every time. That is not his baby. So why the fuck would she act like that's his baby? When she know goddamn well it's not his baby. He don't got money to take care of it anyway. And you would be crushing his dreams of doing that. Putting somebody else's baby on him. When you know it's Takumi's baby. Like, that don't even make no damn sense. And then when she come out looking just like Takumi, now what? Because the baby came out looking just like Takumi, so now what? Now we just gonna be struggling with somebody else's baby? No, absolutely not. Because if it was Nobu's baby, let's be so for real, and she did really love Nobu, and she chose Nobu, and it was Nobu's baby, okay, that would be a completely different situation. Then it wouldn't be like, oh no, like, I feel like she well, I mean, we don't know, but I feel like, she could have still kept it. Because just imagine she kept Takumi's baby, and it wasn't really necessarily the fact that it was Takumi's baby, it was the fact that it was a baby in general. She was like, when you get pregnant, you feel completely different. It's just all these different emotions. So then she would have just most likely kept Nobu's baby too. And all that, oh, I don't want to ruin his chance at doing this. That would have went out the fucking window. Now, you better take care of this baby. It's your baby. But just imagine it's not his baby, and you're trying to put this baby on this man that is not his baby, and he went out of his way to wear protection. You would feel like a piece of shit. On top of the fact that he can't provide you the lifestyle that you actually really want. Compared to, this is Takumi's baby. He can provide you the lifestyle that you want. You do love him. You want to be with him. You just want him to act right. But you want to be with him. Why would you put your baby on somebody else? That don't make sense. So, especially you feel like you can't even be comfortable with Nobu. You feel me? You can't even be comfortable with him. So, it was just never finna happen. It was just never finna happen. But, like I said, I'm glad we got some stuff cleared. I just don't like the misinformation being spread about Junko. You don't gotta like her. Even after this, you don't gotta like her. But hopefully this episode enriched, your understanding of her character.